Welcome back. And Evandro Gussi is president, Brazilian Sugarcane and Bioenergy Industry Associations. Evandro, hi, thank you so much for joining in. And ethanol clearly has been a buzzword now in India, but Brazil plotted it, piloted it, championed it. What are the numbers that we're looking at now for production and blending when it comes to Brazil to begin with?
Well, ethanol is an important part of our production in Brazil. We are producing now 33 billion liters of ethanol used in our cars. And as you are experiencing here in India, we have a blend in the Petrol. In Brazil, we have 27% of ethanol blended in gasoline. We will arrive in 30% the next months. And we have pure ethanol used in flex fuel vehicles.
Also, how would you look at Indian growth in ethanol with its targets now preponed, 18% done already in the month of December?
Well, I think that India is, I think that India is having a wonderful development here in terms of ethanol production. I am here at the Bharat Mobility, one of the most important expositions about mobility in the world, and I can see here flex fuel vehicles able to use up to 100% of ethanol, and this will be very important for sugarcane producers and for ethanol producers here in India, because with the production of ethanol, you don't have a necessity to have all the incomes of the sector from the sugar.
Mr. Gussi, also, how do you see India and Brazil trade relations? Because the numbers in 2024 have been quite an improvement. How also are you looking at knowledge sharing when it comes to biofuels between the two countries?
Oh, we have the best relations between Brazil and India. Brazil has 40 years of experience in ethanol production and consumption, and we are pleased to share the experience with India and see how fast you are developing the technology and the market of ethanol here in India. I can't believe in what I am seeing here. 5-6 years ago, we had nothing about ethanol in India, and now here in Bharat Mobility, I can see the development. I think that in the next course, after 20% of blending, because government of India is developing a roadmap for further ethanol blending of 20%, I think that India will be one of the best examples of sustainable mobility in the 21st century.
I also want to draw your attention to the Global Biofuel Alliance, which was launched between US, Brazil and India to increase biofuel production and demand. You are playing a pivotal role in that, but since that has been done, where would you say we are standing now? What kind of progress has been made onto this one?
I think that the Global Biofuels Alliance was a wonderful idea launched by Brazil, United States and India here in G20 when India had the presidency of G20. The schedule now is running a lot because all the bureaucratic and diplomatic assets are being done. India has the Secretary of Global Biofuels Alliance, and we are seeing a lot of countries understand the importance of ethanol and wanting to achieve the same target. The example of India, the leadership of India in ethanol, is getting Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, South Africa, and a lot of countries in the world for this pathway with biofuels, with bioethanol.
Mr. Gussi, a final question, and then how are you looking at, as you said, India has made leaps and bounds when it comes to ethanol usage and flexi-fuel cars that you have seen in Bharat Mobility Expo. How would you say Brazil is guiding, sharing its own experiences with India at this point?
I wouldn't say that we would or could guide India, but share experience. What we have in Brazil is first a high-level ethanol blend in gasoline. This is wonderful for cars, for people, and for environment. More than this, Brazil has developed the flex fuel vehicles able to use up to 100% of ethanol and up to 100% of gasoline. This experience is being showed here in Bharat Mobility, the Auto Expo, and what we are showing now to Indian government and Indian private sector, first is the measurement of the carbon intensity of ethanol, how to measure how many grams of CO2 equivalent you have in each liter or each megajoule of energy produced by ethanol. The second point, it's very important to have tax differentiation. We can't have the same taxation in ethanol and in gasoline, in petrol. You must have an important difference because while gasoline has emissions of CO2 in high level, in case of ethanol, you have up to 90% of reduction in CO2 emissions. Then I think that tax and carbon intensity measurement are the next steps that India is looking at, and this is very important for the program.
Mr. Gussi, thank you so much for joining in. Well, an important point being made that India needs to look at tax differentiation when it comes to ethanol and petrol being used in cars. And second point, of course, Mangalam, as he said, that you have to look at your carbon intensity. That's an important thing that India needs to start measuring.
Absolutely. The world is looking at carbon neutrality here. So carbon intensity extremely crucial. But what's also extremely crucial is that the mid-cap index is breaking those important levels, very close to that 52,500 mark, down about 2.5%. At the low point of today's trading session. And some of the stocks which are seeing a fair amount of sell-off. Pull up something like AB Fashion and Retail. Did well in the morning. From there, it's given up around 3.5% of gains. So currently sitting at the low point of trade. First Source continues to struggle, down about 6% now at the low point for that one as well. Polycab ahead of numbers, down 5%. InfoEdge down about 4% as well. So mid-cap IT not doing particularly well. AB Fashion Retail selling off, and a bunch of other stocks as well sell off, even as large-cap IT and the Frontline Index holds on around the flat line. Take a short break, come back on the other side. Business Lunch takes all the market action ahead.